When the Melnick family first saw the house, it seemed perfect to them. Old, but well-groomed. Two-story, with large windows overlooking the dark forest. The house stood on the outskirts of a small town, where the air was clean and the nights were unnaturally quiet. Oleg Melnick called it a profitable purchase. Irina is a new beginning. And their 10-year-old son Marco is a place where there is definitely something strange. They moved at the end of October. The first night they slept badly. Not because of fear, because of the noise. Somewhere in the wall something clicked, as if the old pipes were shrinking from the cold. The floor creaked softly, although no one walked. And in the corridor, a quiet toque was heard again and again, as if the door had closed. "It's an old house," said Oleg, turning to the other side. "He's getting used to us." But the house was not used to it. He watched. The first to notice the change was Irina. In the morning, she came out of the kitchen, carrying a cup of coffee, and stopped. The corridor was longer. Yesterday, there were 4 doors from the kitchen to the stairs. Today, it's 5. She slowly recalculated. 1. Pantry. 2. Guest room. 3. Bath. 4. Cabinet. 5. The 5th door was narrow, made of dark wood, without a handle. "Oleg," she called. The man came over, rubbing his eyes sleepily. "Do you remember that door?" Oleg looked. Yes. It was a storeroom. The pantry is the first. They counted together. 5. Oleg frowned. "You probably just didn't pay attention." He pressed the door. They didn't open. They didn't have a castle. Marco was the first to say what adults feared. "The stairs were on the left at night," he whispered the next day at breakfast. "They are still on the left," Irina replied. "No. Yesterday my room was opposite the bathtub. And today it's near." Oleg sighed heavily. "You're just confused." But when he went upstairs to check, Mark's room really stood differently. She was at the end of the corridor yesterday. Today is the second from the stairs. Irina looked at her husband in silence. "It's impossible," she whispered. On the 3rd night, they heard footsteps. Slow, prudent. It was as if someone was walking down the corridor, touching the walls. Oleg came out of the bedroom with a flashlight. The corridor was dark. Quiet. The doors were 6. They decided to make a plan of the house. Irina painted every room. I signed them. I measured the distance. Marked the windows. "If anything changes tomorrow, we'll see," she said. In the morning, they unfolded the plan. The stairs now led not to the corridor, but directly to the small hall. The cabinet is gone. In its place is a wall. And on the plan, nothing has changed. The first time the door appeared at 3:07 a.m. Marco didn't sleep. He heard a whisper. Quiet, barely noticeable, as if someone was repeating his name. He looked out into the corridor, and I saw the light. At the end of the corridor there was a door that was not there before. The light came out from under them. There are numbers on the door. 3 o'clock. Marco came closer. The light flickered. The handle was cold. And the door slowly opened by itself. The room inside was familiar. It was their living room, but old, with furniture that they haven't moved yet, with a crack in the wall that was no longer there, with a TV that showed white noise. There was a family in the room. Back to him. 4 people. Oleg, Irina, Marco, and someone else. High, unnaturally thin. I stood next to them, and slowly turned his head. Marco shouted. Oleg ran out into the corridor. There was no door, only the wall. She was here. Marco shouted. Light. People. Oleg hugged his son. But when he raised his eyes, the corridor has become longer. The next day, Oleg installed the cameras. In the corridor. In the kitchen. On the stairs. If the house changes, we'll see. At 2:59 a.m., all the cameras began to ripple. At 3 o'clock, the signal disappeared. At 3:06 a.m., he returned. The recording showed an empty corridor. But the walls moved. They moved slowly. The door appeared from the air. The stairs shifted. It was as if the house was breathing. Irina was the first to say what everyone was thinking. We are not alone. That same evening they decided not to sleep. We sat in the living room. The clock was ticking. 2:58, 2:59. At 3 o'clock the light went out, and they heard the house being rebuilt. Creak, crack, click, and the door appeared, right in the living room. On them is an inscription made in chalk. Stay. Oleg came first. If this is someone's joke. He opened the door. There was a children's room behind them, but not Markov. The toys were on the floor, drawings on the walls. One of them is their house, and 3 figures at the door. The 4th is inside, with long arms, and the signature at the bottom. He wants to live with us. The room disappeared at 3:12, just disappeared into thin air, together with the door, leaving a smooth wall. Irina was crying. We have to leave. But the next morning they found no way out. The door that led outside now opened to another room. Kitchen, which already existed. The house did not allow them to leave. Every night the rooms became bigger. Some were empty. Some repeated their lives with slight differences. In one of the rooms, Marko was sick. In the other, Oleg was alone. In the third, Irina screamed into the void. And there was always the same silhouette next to them. On the 7th night they heard a voice. It was heard from the ventilation. You are suitable for us. Oleg covered Mark's ears. Who are you? The answer came from all the walls. We are home. They understood. The house did not change the room. He was looking. I tried different options, different versions of them, until he finds what's left. At 3 o'clock the last room appeared. It was dark. There was a table inside, and 3 chairs. There is paper on the table. Choose one room, and stay. There is a door all around. 10s. Each of them had a different version of their lives. Marko whispered, If we don't choose. He will choose for us, Irina replied. They looked at the door. There was something wrong with each of them. Some of them were missing somewhere. The house was bigger somewhere. There were no windows. Oleg grabbed the door handle, behind which was their real living room. This is our home. He opened them, and I saw the void. Black. No floor. Without walls. Just a whisper. You're already inside. At 3:14 the house fell silent. The next morning, the neighbors saw a new car drive into the yard. A young couple with a small daughter came out of it. Great place, said the woman. The layout is a bit strange, the man replied. There were 4 doors in the hallway. For now. At 3 o'clock, my daughter woke up. She heard a whisper, and I saw the light at the end of the corridor. Door. With numbers. 3 o'clock. There were 3 people behind them. With his back to her. Immovable. Waiting. And next to them is a high silhouette, who now had 4 shadows. And the house slowly changed again.